Good morning, I'm Alicia Tam, and I will be your live reporter at Alicia Teen News. So, our cause for today is the curbing of mass extinction of both plants and animals due to global warming. First, let's explore the causes. Global warming refers to the rise in the Earth's average surface temperature due to human activities. The primary culprits are the burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial activities. These actions significantly increase greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. So how does the trapping of heat work? When we burn fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas, we release copious amounts of CO2 into the atmosphere. This gas traps heat and prevents ultraviolet rays from escaping into space. Deforestation also accelerates the problem, as trees absorb CO2, leading to a buildup of these harmful gases in the air. Additionally, agriculture contributes to methane emissions from livestock and organic waste in landfills. Let's not forget CFCs. These compounds, once common in refrigerators and aerosols, release chlorine atoms that damage the ozone layer, allowing harmful UV rays to reach Earth's surface. Now let's reflect on what we have over the last 200 years. Here is the timeline that I've briefly wrote down. The average global temperatures have risen about 1.2 Celsius since the late 19th century and continues to rise around 2. This temperature increase has led to melting of polar ice caps, which threatens coastal communities and disrupts many ecosystems. We also face extreme weather events such as heat waves, floods, hurricanes, which destroy habitats and impact our daily life. The consequences are severe. Global warming is a critical issue that impacts every nation. If countries fail to act, they can risk severe consequences for their people, plants, animals, and surrounding nations. Developed countries often prioritize this issue due to their resources and technology, while developing nations may struggle to focus on it. And amid other while developing nations may struggle to focus on it. Leaders such as Margaret Thatcher, George W. Bush, and Justin Trudeau have spoken out about the need for action, showing that many nations have published reports and calls to address climate change. It is clear that global cooperation is essential for a sustainable future. Global warming is a critical issue that impacts every nation. If countries fail to act, they can risk severe consequences for their people, plants, animals, and surrounding nations. Developed countries often prioritize this issue due to their resources and technology, while developing nations may struggle to focus on it. And amid other while developing nations may struggle to focus on it. Leaders such as Margaret Thatcher, George W. Bush, and Justin Trudeau have spoken out about the need for action, showing that many nations have published reports and calls to address climate change. It is clear that global cooperation is essential for a sustainable future. One domestic policy that has been focused on is Germany's Energiewende, which translates to energy transition. Germany is transitioning from fossil fuels to renewable energy. This affects their entire economy, from buildings to transportation to industry, corporation, and agriculture. This comprehensive approach aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 65% by 2035. This ensures their long-term economic stability. Central to the effort is the UE emissions trading system, which is a part of it. This sets a cap on emissions from certain industries, making pollution ultimately more expensive, encouraging companies to innovate and reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. Beyond Germany, the European Union is committed to protecting nature, as well as reversing biodiversity loss. For instance, the EU has proposed its first nature restoration law, which includes several key items. There's the rewetting of peatlands, as well as forest restoration and pollinator habitat creation. This works through Ireland, Netherlands, Poland, and France, which help foster more of a biodiverse ecosystem and a healthier healthier indigenous species. This action demonstrates how domestic policies effectively address global. These actions ultimately positively affect our world. Furthermore, both US and Australia seek to address the GHG emissions through very specific energy policies. In the United States, the Energy Policy Act helps outline clear limitations on greenhouse gas emissions from energy production, nuclear facilities, and various industries to encourage innovation. The government will offer loans to companies that develop these green technologies, minimizing greenhouse gas as a byproduct. This initiative not only fosters a clean energy solution, but also stimulates economic growth by supporting many green technology startups. Meanwhile, in Australia's Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act, EPBC, they focus on protecting threatened species and their habitats. This regulates actions that could impact vulnerable animals such as the western swamp tortoise or the orange-bellied parrot. They focus on eradicating invasive species, making reserves, and having legislations that will help implement their policies around Australia. Now focusing on international and foreign policies, we have the Paris Climate Agreement. The main goal is to limit global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius, with an aim to keep it to 1.5 degrees. They have long-term temperature goals, which focus on reducing global temperatures to prevent severe climate impacts, as well as climate neutrality, which helps work towards a net zero effect. Mitigation means that every 5 years, countries must report their nationally determined contributions, their NDCs, back so that they can register how much of an impact they've made to prevent greenhouse gas emissions. Furthermore, they made sinks and reservoirs, which are basically forests and oceans that help absorb gas emissions and CO2. Now let's turn to the CBD, which is established in Brazil. This international treaty aims to conserve biodiversity and promote sustainable use of biological resources. Their key initiatives are to restore ecosystems in Asia, Africa, and Latin America to revive important ecosystems. CBD advocates for the creation of marine protected areas to safeguard these habitats and engage local communities in conservation efforts to promote their marine resources. Now, NGOs and IGOs. The World Wildlife Fund Organization, WWF, in Hong Kong is dedicated to protecting endangered species and promoting sustainable practices. They support marine, wildlife, and wetland conservation. They want to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius and adopt solutions such as solar energy, banning single-use plastics, and change how we use our resources, such as the plastic ban, which we now see in school and outside of school. The WWF has highlighted their work in Maipo wetlands and marine environments in 2024, which face threats from development and pollution. They are working towards a 30% protection of the world's oceans by 2030. The WWF have made strides in fighting illegal wildfire trade and have created a hub for this issue in the Asia-Pacific region. They also engage communities throughout their Green City initiatives and make a lot of educative programs at places like the Maipo Nature Reserve. On a global scale, Conservation Internationalism, which is another NGO, aim to connect humanity with nature. Their programs, such as the Doubling Ocean Protection Initiative, address rising sea levels and promote sustainable livelihoods. They work to restore critical ecosystems, producing over 20 landscapes and supporting coastal fisheries in 2024. The UNFCCC collaborates with countries to create many climate strategies, for example, the Paris Agreement. Their recent climate week aims to turn ambitious plans into real actions. Mexico is leading by investing in renewable energy and sustainable agriculture with UN support, and many are in hopes to follow. There are many ways you all can contribute to the reduction of carbon emissions and help the environment. We could start by using transportation such as buses or walking, especially in small cities like Hong Kong. We can minimize waste going to landfills by choosing eco-friendly products and avoid items with harmful chemicals and recycling paper and plastic. We can also support efforts by joining organizations like WWF, which allow you to donate. And finally, you can educate others about global warming and stay informed about following local environment groups online. Every small action counts. Thank you.